In 2001, the fact that Microsoft had Halo coming to the original Xbox was very cool, but it was still a gamble as to what franchise would launch with or near the beginning of the life cycle of the original Xbox and become the must-have game for the console. Crimson Skies got a lot of attention, as did this naval shooter, Bloodwake, developed by Stormfront Studios and published by Microsoft. Launching about a month after the console's release, Bloodwake is a vehicular combat game that takes place on water, and you thought Assassin's Creed and Sea of Thieves were breaking new ground. Or is that Waves? Anyway, the game has a third-person perspective, though you can switch to a more first-person-esque style, but that tends to get a little frantic. Left trigger fires your primary weapon, right trigger fires high-grade explosives like missiles, torpedoes, and long-range cannons. The controls are fun and floaty. If you've ever played a game like Hydro Thunder, you sort of know what to expect. But I honestly couldn't tell sometimes if I was just having problems with the controls, trying to make tight turns, or slow down to navigate trying to pick up items, or if this was just a symptom of a 15-year-old controller having loose analog sticks. Yeah, this is a game you have to play on original Xbox hardware. It is not on the backwards compatibility list with the Xbox 360. Trust me, I tried. Still, despite the game turning 17 later this year, the graphics are very respectable. Sure, these days we expect more from our water physics, but all in all, the 3D models in Bloodwake look good, and the textures used on ships look like they were given some thought and attention, rather than many solid shades of color that we were often used to seeing just one generation before. The game is able to keep up its speed by limiting simultaneous enemy encounters and having large open waters with minimal polygon counts. Music and sound effects are good, but the game almost intentionally keeps them entirely in the background. Even in the options menu, the game defaults to having both music and sound effects turned way down. The sound effects aren't exactly masterpieces, but nothing sounds out of place, but the music actually impressed me. It combines American rock influences with Asian instrumentation. This is important because the world the game takes place in has a heavy Asian influence, so the music actually does a good job of setting the tone for the world you're in. So about that Asian influence? Well, as I dig into the instruction manual, it's very clear that the game has an extremely expansive story. I'll spare you the long version, but just so you can get a taste of what they were going for, allow me to read the prologue in the manual. Even here in the Gulf, rescue is nowhere in sight. The wind hunts me with a long, cold-fingered reach that strangles lost words in my throat before they cross my lips. Rain falls from every direction, either straight down in torrents or whipped up from the waves. My energy and hope sapped, I don't know how long I can hang on. Patrolling the Gulf of the Moon is usually one of the best duties a young boat captain can draw. Relative safety, warm waters, and plenty of small coastal villages to provide food, drink, and entertainment. The day we cast off was one of those days that beckon young men to a life at sea. As commander, I had stood proudly behind my helmsman while he guided our stout vessel out of the harbor and into the Gulf. I'm still not sure where the attack came from, because it was so fast and so final. I've been tossed about like a child's wooden boat for as best as I can tell 6 days and nights, but the line between sleep and wakefulness has become blurred, save for one clear thought that keeps me clinging for life. That I must find out who is responsible for this devastating attack on my boat and crew. I draw small comfort in the knowledge that I am the only one who survived the onslaught, and that this one remaining chunk of hull is all that separates me from the sharks. The thought had just crossed my mind when I heard a distant hum of an engine through the driving rain. You can tell someone gave this game a lot of thought, but rather than bore you by reading all the additional lore in the Bloodwake manual, let me play the intro that the game uses to explain itself when you start up a new campaign.
I was on a routine recon patrol when all hell dropped out of the sky. One second I was on deck, the next I was drifting alone in the Dragon Sea. My fate was a coin flip between the sharks and starvation. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, I was captured by pirates from the Shadow Isles.
You want to live, boy? Impress me.
The man with the imposing voice was Ped Zhang, warlord of the fierce Shadow Clan, and the one man standing between me and a 60-mile swim.
You can start with your name.
Lieutenant Shao Kai, Northern League Fleet, Torpedo Squadron 12.
Squadron? Where are your ships?
Your grunts picked over everything that could float. The rest went down in the attack.
Just who launched this assault? The Colonials are gone, and the Jade Kingdom doesn't have anything that powerful.
Guess I was too busy sinking to catch their name. I was one nod away from being bait when a vision of beauty appeared at Zhang's side and saved me.
His attitude is unfortunate, Lord Zhang, but this one may prove useful.
Just like that, my old life was over, and a new one about to begin. That was the day I became a Sea Raider for the Shadow Clan. I owe Lord Zhang.
Alright, I'm going to cut it off there. This game kind of goes all over the place, and it doesn't take long for our main character, Shao Kai, to sidetrack himself. You go from being a commander of a squadron that got ambushed and being left for dead by apparently your own brother, a fact that I'm sure was mentioned somewhere, though I have no idea where, to being surprisingly loyal to Ped Zhang. Seriously, that treacherous brother bit does come up a couple times in the game, but frankly, the rest of your squad was wiped out, and what was he gonna do, save you? Cowardly maybe, but they make it sound like your brother's out to get you, and I literally don't know where or when in the story this little nugget was supposed to be revealed to me. It just sort of happened. Oh, and then your character distracts himself with a love interest, and also continues to work his butt off to impress his new leader, whom, sure, he owes his life, but you sure went from law-abiding naval commander to pirate pretty easily. The story itself gets even weirder from there, though, and I don't want to spoil anything, because all of that is made worse by the fact that the game has no storytelling mechanism other than these drawings on scrolls. Nearly every single mission in Bloodwake can be reduced down to a simple kill anything with a red dot over it. And then you get some exposition and narration by some awful voice actors. And even some of the accents are laughably bad and borderline racist. This game just drags. There are different factions and friendly villages, and I was even told to go visit a shaman at one point, which I thought would have been cool, but apparently I didn't. Maybe it happens later, I don't know. All I know is while the gameplay in Bloodwake is actually quite a bit of fun, make sure you're playing this game for the fun factor and not for the storyline. Thanks to this game's boring presentation and meandering story that takes a whopping 28 missions to complete, you'll just be left in the wake of our story so far. Hey everybody, thanks for watching episode number 71 of Our Story So Far TV. As always, you can tell me what you thought of the video by leaving a comment down below, or a thumbs up, or a thumbs down. If you really enjoyed the nod to the OG Xbox, feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you've got more to say or games to suggest, feel free to hit me up on Twitter, @NewAngel, that's NUANGEL. I do new episodes of Our Story So Far TV every 2 weeks here on YouTube and at ourstorysofar.tv. During the off weeks, I might upload a video about my game collection or a piece of hardware or who knows what. So please bear with me as I continue to switch from bi-weekly to weekly videos, but until next time, take care of yourself.